Hey everybody, I'm back, and I got some more comics from my spinning rack. So, let's get to it. I got a whole bunch of books I just want to plow through in the next... I do want to do a whole bunch of episodes, and I don't know if that screws with the algorithm, because I just don't know. Sometimes I've heard people post too many episodes, and it hurts their visibility or something, but I'm ignorant of such things. Well, this is a real interesting little anecdote from the mid-'80s. Doomsday Squad, featuring the classic art by John Byrne. This first appeared in Charlton comics, which were like, the runt of the litter in the truest sense, because the paper quality was horrible, but it was a good repository for bringing up talents, big time talents, like Mike Zeck, John Byrne, and many others. So this one has a brand new Gil Kane cover, even though he has nothing to do with the book, past or present. Is that focusing okay? I'm trying to get it on. Gil Kane's, it's kind of sloppy signature. What's really funny about all this is it's Fantagraphics books, okay? This came out mid-'80s. At the time, Gary Groth and Kim Thompson and all the others from Fantagraphics Books, who published the Comics Journal, which I really loved, actually, they hated Marvel at the time. They had the most vituperative phrasing when it came to describing a Marvel comic. They made it sound like it was bilge water. It was horrible. And but when a Marvel Comics stalwart, one of the superstars, early superstars of the Bronze Age, John Byrne, he has said some inflammatory things and some not so inflammatory things in the Comics Journal. And then sometimes Byrne would just get attacked just for being Byrne, because of... they would lump in the past. They wouldn't dry erase marker board his name. They would, and it's kind of funny how Fantagraphics, all hoity-toity, decides to reprint and mention John Byrne in high-quality reprints. So it's like, yeah, you hate Byrne, but you're not above making some money. It's just nuts. It's anyway, Captain Jack by Mike Cazalet. I apologize if I say it wrong. It's very, very like Warner Brothers cartoon. Not a Disney cartoon. Those are too sappy. I mean, Donald Duck's the only one I like, but the rest of the guys from Warner Brothers, they got the attitude. So this talks about the recoloring, because the original art was just dreadful. Charlton, the original publisher's coloring was dreadful. Reproduction. So this was done. A lot of this was done by Mike Wheatley, who's extremely talented. He had a short-lived series with First Comics called Mars. And who else? Oh yeah, there's Mark Hempel and Mark Wheatley and George Koshel. I can't say that right name properly. I apologize, but it's pretty cool seeing early Byrne. And Byrne was hungry. You follow everything in this book. He's not trying to show off so much that it is illegible. That's where a lot of people trip up in early books. Oh, what a cover. Take off of Armor #1. And Anything Goes was it was to build a nest egg or a big chunk of change to fight Mike Fleischer about... It was basically Fantagraphics or Gary Groth versus Mike Fleischer, because Gary Groth possibly, or it could be interpreted that he slandered Michael Fleischer, and Michael Fleischer didn't take kindly to that. I don't know what happened after. I don't really care. But for a couple of years, it was a big deal. Big old deal. I'm going to be covering some of these fanzines in-house and otherwise in a future episode. So it's good stuff. I mean, it's not, For a new guy, it's better than, I'd say, 90% of them. Love that curve. The colors, like I said. Perhaps you will their future issue of Doomsday Squad. Love and Rockets. I liked it when it started off, and it's still great, but not as enjoyable. Captain Jack by Mickey himself, Kazella, and Mark Madman Schermeister. And it's pretty funny, actually. It's loads of fun, but I mean, it's so ready for animation. Good stuff, good stuff. Now, Captain America Blood and Glory. It is an embossed cover. And I like it a lot. It's, I'm not hung up on embossed covers, but this looks great. And Klaus Janson, man, look at him. He's delivering the goods. And it's co-written by DG Drew Tracy Chichester, who wrote Daredevil for several years when Scott McDaniel came along. Margaret Clark, I've seen her name before, so they worked together. Artist John Wellington of the Royal Wellingtons. And the coloring. Oh, did I say the coloring? Yeah, John Wellington. I dig it. This is matte stock. It's hard. I mean, it's got a nice thickness to it where you can flip through the pages, but it's also absorbs the ink beautifully. It's Klaus Janson having a cap show up, and it's just as I don't know. It's just exceptional. I wish I could think of a better phrase. And this is all Klaus, pencils and inks. No Frank Miller. I would argue, okay, here we go. Sin City was really cool, and then it kind of got dragged out, in my opinion. And then when he did Dark Knight, the second Dark Knight, it was ridiculous. He was wiping his ass on the paper and hoping, and he got money for it. So, for both publishers and fans, but to me, this is the dirty work. This is where the expressions come in, and the expressions that are important. And that is really great stuff. And it doesn't even look like he's unshaven. It's just lines in his face from that shadow. Here you go, full splash of the Punisher now. It has to do with politics between America and some third world country, I think. I'm not going to spoil it, that's all. How about that? That's a gutsy page. It's a fantastic book. I'm surprised. Actually, it has been has been collected in Captain America Epic Collection. There's an Epic Collection that has this miniseries in it. But I wanted to save this first issue because I like the embossing. It's fun. So, I love the colors, the touch tones. Too many books have like 3 colors. Dark blue, darker blue, and then orange. But it has subdued tones when necessary and brightens things up when necessary. Man, oh man. I don't know. I guess those are supposed to be like chainmail pieces falling off, I guess. I thought it was just dramatic effect, but he even signed it at the bottom because he's proud of it. I'd be proud of it too. It's a great piece of art. Now, something a little different. Richard Dragon. Upon returning from CrossGen, he went. Chuck Dixon went to DC Comics, and they gave him a couple of books to work on, The Outsiders, and he worked on a Richard Dragon story with Scott McDaniels. So he had the Nightwing team back, but they were covering this somewhat obscure character from the 70s who had been established in this 1990s era, early 2000s. Richard Dragon pretty much trained everybody. Like, he trained Batman, he trained Connor Hawk Green Arrow, he trained a ton of people in many martial arts. And in Lady Shiva, well, she's a badass too, for a variety of reasons as well. And Andy Owens is doing the inks instead of Carl Story, but the quality is just as good. It's great. And this is when I just love the fisheye lens view that Scott McDaniel gives the action scenes. It's just amazing. It only lasted 12 issues, though, and a lot of that has to do with it wasn't promoted. There was like no real house ads. There wasn't any. I mean, you could have said like from the team from Nightwing that sold 40 books with just those two guys and continued after they separated their ways. But nope. This is a fight to the death. It's hard to explain. It's a fight to the very end. And Connor Hawk, who is the son of Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, he's a super badass. And not only is he great with a bow, but he's a great fighter. And there's a handful of different fighters he has to take on. And it's whoever is the best. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's all the big shots. I love this. Richard Dragon stuck in a hole. First panel. Yee. What happened was he had this one guy was looking down at him, food for all, eat food, stay strong, fight good, come on, give me a bowl, food good, curry with fish, sick, give Pat bowl, and takes the gun, and he does a Buster Keaton and holds himself up high with the gun, gets out. Pretty smooth. So Connor Hawk and Richard Dragon are sort of forced to knock each other out, and he wants to get the Lady Shiva. The young bowman and his comrade will die. They are of no use to me. Then I don't fight. They get safe escort out of here, and we'll get it on. Full on. No holding back. To the death. That's what you always wanted, wasn't it? I love those sharp images. That's like the Gaijin studio style of Brian Stelfreeze, Dave Johnson, Tony Harris. Did I say Brian Stelfreeze? Yeah. I can't think of his name. Biggest name of all, Cully Hamner. That was something they established. These hard, sharp graphics. Not so much noodly line work. But, man. So this isn't just any fight scene. It's not just like the generic ones you'll see in a comic. It's the camera's whirling around, just trying to keep up with the action. And, all kinds of stuff going on. But I don't want to spoil it. I really recommend this. I don't think it was out in a trade at all. I think when Chuck Dixon came back to DC, they had a jilted lover almost of, well, you left us. We're not going to play nice by you because you were with CrossGen. So it didn't get that much promotion. And Scott McDaniel, I mean, geez, Pete. I'd hire him to draw my comic anytime, except that he's not answering my calls. I'm just putting you on. Galactic Guardians. I thought I'd go from the cool to the garish just for the hell of it. I buy these once in a while because this book lasted 5 years. Jim Valentino did the first 25, and oddly enough, the art and the writing got a little better. And I don't mean to bag on him. His second year was stronger than his first, but this new regular team, who was Michael Gallagher. Hang on. Michael Gallagher was the writer, and Kevin West was the penciler. Steve Montana was the inker, and Craig Anderson was the deadline guy, the editor. Tom DeFalco was the shoelacer, a.k.a. editor-in-chief. Boop-de-ba-boop. And they play, what I love is it's the universe of the, what century is that? 31st. And they build on it. Now they have these galactic guardians. Spirit of Vengeance, Hollywood, who is an ancient Wonder Man, and he worked in Hollywood. So it's kind of fun. Phoenix, a male. How about this? A gender swap on Phoenix. It's a guy, and you got Firelord, who actually looks like he's not pissed off for a change. He's always, the comics usually like that. And there's Martin X, who is still around because his body just doesn't die. And here comes Bubonicus out here with the plague, baby. And his Vision, called AKA Mainframe, who was also a title for, I don't know, like a late 90s for Iron Man's character in A Next, which was a Tom DeFalco, Ron Friend's book. But that's okay. It's still a great name. So you see a lot of stuff going on here. Here's Bubonicus. I like the design of the character. There's a scroll. Eternity. He's like, hey, what's up, dudes? That is a scroll turning into a powerhouse. My question about this is, except for Super Scroll, how do scrolls turn into other features with a lot more heft? It's never been established that any scroll, just any scroll, can take on, like, let's say the Thing in the Hulk's presence. Maybe as a deception, but not strength-wise, because they have the same mass. Otherwise, scrolls would be walking around like the Hulk all the time, So I think that's a little bit of a flaw. So everybody's safe. I like the Steelers black and gold. Woo! And then a Dread Dormammu. I love that. That kind of relives the Michael Korvac saga image. Now, Adultates of Spider-Man. Give me a second, would you? Hang on. Hang on, everybody. Sorry about that. I had to blow my nose because since I've gotten these new hearing aids, yes, I need hearing aids. I can hear my nose whistling more than I couldn't before. Untitled Tales of Spider-Man, less than 25 issues, I believe, and it's by every issue by Kurt Busiek and Pat Olliffe. And what I like is it takes place during like the first 25 issues of Spider-Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, and it fills in between the issues. My cousin, he had the original issues in a collected form, and he got Untold Tales of Spider-Man. He got the omnibus. Maybe he got the floppies. Don't matter. So there was no reason back then for Hawkeye not to encounter Spider-Man, or for the new X-Men, or the old X-Men to encounter Spider-Man. So there'd be these little nuggets in there, as well as new villains and old villains. And it really succeeded. I see how Pete's kind of, he's still kind of a small dude without his costume. Here comes in a very John Buscema type pose. And it's a good read. Really good read, because he's not an Avenger yet. He's still like crazy about the Black Widow, who talks him into anything short of jumping off a building. And have you ever been in a relationship that's strong where you're kind of like blindsided? Because I've seen it. And for a short while, I had one of those relationships, and until my friends all yelled at me. And I was like, you know what? They're right. And it happens to everybody. I think. Maybe. Who knows? Who cares? Talk about Spider-Man. Talk about Hawkeye. Oh, what? There's good old Aunt May. Blah, 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 blah. Hawkeye's with Black Widow. It's like, I draw the line at treason. But it is not treason, my brave Hawkeye, but salvation for free people everywhere is one small component, a crucial piece of a new missile targeting system being developed by Williams Innovations. That's Wonder Man. But the cost of it is great indeed. Factions in your government plan to supply the new system to mercenaries, to people who would destroy innocent and children in their mad quest for power, only when they're discovered are blah blah blah. I'm tired. Such beautiful stuff. Hawkeye, and they appeared a couple times in Marvel Team Up, and they were okay. The first one was by, I think, Gary Conway or Len Wein, and it was penciled by Sal Buscema. But the second one by Steve, stop, Drew, Stephen Grant and Carmen Infantino, inked by Bruce Patterson, who made the pencils look fantastic. That's a good book to read. The other one's sort of paint by numbers. So it's like just a random pinup, I guess, or a preview of the next issue. I like it. But it's a great series. I mean, you can get it cheap, and they have done like at least three of printings of the Untold Tales, and it's extremely affordable, so I recommend it. So that's it. That's my comics from the Spinner Rack, and I hope you liked it, and I will talk to you soon.